interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Yo, it's Remember the Show. Slick with the flows, where the sparring can go. Who's gonna be on, man, you never will know. Guess you better tune in, cause we live from Chicago. Belal Muhammad, that's the king of the tweets. Jason Anik looks like John, step his hands to his feet. Every Thursday, we gon' give you a treat. It's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat. And retweet, and retweet, and retweet. And retweet, it's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat.
Yo, it's Remember the Show, episode 41. Jason Anik, Belal Muhammad, Cody Merrow. Everyone's in Vegas except you and me, it appears, for this weekend. But Belal, so you're looking fresh, you're looking lean. No fights. We know there are no fights on the book. So what are you, just swimming, running, and biking with Paul Felder? Is that what's happening?
I think I'm just gonna have to become a triathlete, dude. This is like getting annoying, ridiculous. I'm about to start looking at a different sport.
You're a different weight class, 155 maybe, you know?
I'm honestly, I think it's possible. If I get back into the triathlon training hard like Paul, I think it'll be easy.
And I know you're joking, but can you imagine?
I mean, dude, literally anytime I see Habib will look at me like 55. And I'm like, huh? Yeah. You can, I'm like, bro, how much weight do you guys cut? I'm like,
right.
All right. But now you're thinking about it, I was like, if it's gonna give me more fights, I'll do it.
Hey, well, either way, short notice opportunity. You certainly look ready if that were to present itself at any point.
Yeah, I mean, there's Robbie Lawler, there's Nick Diaz on his card. So I'm looking at it like, both those guys, they pull out sometimes. So if they need somebody to step in, that could be a reason why they brought me here.
I hear you. And and that extra 10 pounds doesn't hurt, right?
Dude, easy word. A lot of people were complaining about it, asking like, oh man, the Diaz brothers, they get whatever they want. But I'm like, Nick hasn't literally fought in 5 years. I mean, and when you haven't cut weight in a while and you already know how the Diaz brothers, how they take it, they have a lot of anxiety and stuff fight week. They have a lot of issues fight week already. It's nothing new with them. So it's like, I could understand. And Nick, both of them used to fight at 185 before. So it's honestly should be easier for Robbie Lawler as well, too.
Well, I was about to ask, you think Lawler hears that and he's like, all right, this is kind of a shit show fight. It's kind of a shit show fight anyway. He's lost 4 straight. No disrespect. It's a money. I'm sure they're both getting a nice paycheck for him. Makes the next few days, I think, a little easier, I would think.
Exactly. Like you don't really start cutting that hard weight until maybe the fight week. So if they hit you up at the beginning of fight week, and it's not like you're going against a real 185 pounder, you're going against a 70 pounder that just wants to weigh in 185. So like if I have an opponent that's already welterweight and you tell us, hey, you guys don't have to cut this extra 10 pounds, I'll be like, perfect. All right, let's do it. But if it's like the day before the fight and then I know I just cut that hard weight, I'm already 170 right now, then you're going to tell me, hey, could you do? Then I'm going to be pissed off. But it's fight week just started.
So we're losing you a little bit. You looked lean now you look a little, there we go. Now you're coming back into the picture. You're on mute. Let me hear you. We lost you for a second. We don't have you. We don't want to lose the star of the program.
We need to go back to the Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, we don't have you, but we can bring old Blue Eyes on the screen. We'll talk to him until you can get there.
I don't know what
I was about to talk about Leon Edwards, and I don't like that I talk about Leon Edwards every week. You can hear us, right, Bully? So we'll wait for the Leon Edwards stuff until he gets back on.
Before
should we talk about McGregor? We can talk about McGregor's first pitch at Wrigley.
Dude, I could throw better. I think I could throw better left-handed. Like, and I love Connor, but I could throw better left-handed. I swear.
So Gaethje, came out and Gaethje sort of didn't like. He liked it. It had a little juice, right?
I mean, realistically though, what is that? 60, 65?
You think? Ooh,
yeah,
that's there's the triathlete.
That's the cool part about doing it in a hotel now. Bad internet. It's crazy. Bring me back to the Holiday Inn. We have way better internet over there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what Cody was saying. Exactly. So we talked a little bit about Wrigley while you were gone, just briefly. So yeah, I mean, a little juice on it. I know Gaethje liked that it had a little steam, but nowhere to be found near the plate.
Dude, that was terrible.
Go ahead.
I was looking at it when you go back to look at how he threw the football at Dallas Stadium, then he threw that baseball. He threw that cup of water. Like it wasn't technique when he threw that cup of water at MGK. I'm saying like this guy can't throw nothing but punches. Like,
hey, no, to be fair, the water bottle throws were pretty fucking good, and they hit a girl in the head. So like those were great.
Yeah, that was good. Well, he aimed at Nick Diaz. He aimed at Nate. So I mean, that was a bad throw if you're really thinking about it.
You're saying Nate was like 15 feet to the left.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy's never played any other sports before. I was like, what the heck?
All I have to say about that is if he goes to U.S. Cellular Field, I know it's not that, but I keep calling it that. If he goes to U.S. Cellular Field, then like we know we get a copycat in our hands. We can't be having that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, either way, though, they had Muhammad a few weeks before, and then McGregor, in the proper order. So I was saying while you were gone, I hate to bring up Leon Edwards every week, but I heard some sort of so now he's maybe willing to fight Jorge Masvidal, right? So no belt on the line, BMF or otherwise, but I honestly, I'm with respect getting so sick of the rumblings in this division with nothing going on. It's like, let's go. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, it's crazy. He tried to throw that tweet out there like, like I said, this guy really doesn't know how to promote himself because he was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna fight this guy. This guy's a bum. Just got knocked out twice, and I'm like, he's the biggest money fight in the division, and he wants to fight you. Why would you say no to that fight? You think you're not gonna get the title fight right away? And to even think about it, like I saw a tweet earlier where it said Gilbert Burns' last 4 fights are way more impressive than Leon Edwards. If you're thinking about like the name value of Leon, who is Leon beat that's ranked or on a high value, like Gilbert Burns just beating Wonderboy last, that was huge anyway. And I think that was a bigger win than him beating Nate Diaz and him almost getting finished in that fight. So like a guy like that, where when you see Anthony Smith just where he called out Rakic, and he was like, if you don't want to fight, then I'm gonna pass you up. And Rakic right away was like, I'm down. Let's do it in December. Like that's what this welterweight division needs. Like guys that are like willing to fight. Like if you're not fighting, you're staying on the sidelines. Guys are gonna pass you by.
And it's stale, like to talk about. A couple months ago, it was more interesting to talk about. It's not. There's not much really to talk about right now.
Right? It's getting boring. Where it's the same thing over and over again. You're like, nobody's getting booked. There's only one guy in the top 10 that's booked right now, and the title's on the line. When there's 8 other guys that should be fighting, but nobody wants to get the ball moving on that.
Well, so you brought up Lionheart, so let's go there. Anything but boring, right? So obviously for our guy Ryan Spann, and I know they're both your guys, but I was certainly looking forward to maybe a moment for him. But dude, Anthony Lionheart Smith. So he lost 2 straight in 2020, and then all of a sudden he flips. He's won 3 in a row. He could be one fight away from a title. He looks incredible. Dude's had 52 pro fights, 1 amateur fight against a fucking burglar breaking into his house. I mean, but he looks like the real deal. He looks complete, well-rounded. He could face Rakic and then be right there for a championship event.
Yeah, man, he looks smooth and he's getting better every single fight. And I think it has a lot to do with just him being active. He's taking these main events.
Agreed.
He's fighting back to back to back. He's not sitting out. He's not waiting. Oh, I need a bigger name. I need this. He's fighting guys that aren't that ranked. He's taking chances with letting these guys try to make a name off of him because he just wants to fight. You can just tell he's that guy. Like, all right, well, you want to touch yourself against me? Let's go. Ryan Spann doesn't have the biggest name. He's not the biggest on social media, but he's a killer. He's a real fighters know how good he really is. And he was willing to step up, put his name, put his ranking on the line to fight a guy like that. And that's why fighters respect Anthony Smith. There's fans out here that are always going to talk trash and be like, oh, well, you lost to this guy, you lost to that guy. But if you really think about who he lost to Glover Teixeira and Rakic, who were both killers, and then John Jones. Right. And he went 5 rounds with John Jones. So it's not like anybody just walked over him like he was trash or something like that.
No question. He finishes fights. And to your point, being active, those 2 losses you described were both in 2020, not that long ago. They get erased when you're active and you win 3 straight after it. No one talking about
3 first-round finishes too.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. And when you do it in that fashion, the president, Dana White, he cares about how the fights end,
Yeah,
he does. So there's so much on this card. I got to just ask you though, Iwan Cutelaba, Devin Clark. Cutelaba looked like a beast, but dude, those teeth, and those teeth. I mean, none of us, Cody, we know, no one, we all put you all on a pedestal in terms of your toughness, but just your thoughts on that. Do you feel that? It's
one of those things where, man, like I have a newfound respect for Devin Clark because it was like
right?
he had that chance to pull out, like, oh, my teeth are, I think my jaw's broken, my teeth are knocked in, and then his dad goes, oh, well, I think we're done then. No, I mean, I'm gonna go to the hospital anyway. Let's go. Like, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital regardless. Let's continue to fight because the only way you're gonna win the fight is by staying in the fight. Like, if you're gonna sit there, pull out, tap out, everybody would have been like, all right, he look at his teeth. He had a reason to tap out. He had a reason not to get off the stool in the third round. But even though he was getting killed, even though there was really not one chance where he looked like he could have caught Cutelaba, he still stayed in there. He's like, I'm still gonna fight until the end, till the bell rings, until you try to finish me. I still have that last chance to the final bell rings, and that's a fighter's fighter right there. Cutelaba looked like a monster. I was sitting there thinking, like, man, this guy's gonna gas out. But I just worked out with Eric Nixick earlier, and he's like, Cutelaba, everybody knows how strong he is. Everybody knows how tough he is. Everybody knows how much power he has. But they always think after 1-2 minutes, he's done. So, like, this whole time, he switched camps to them. He's like, we're just going to focus on his cardio and show that this guy could go a hard 15 minutes. And he showed it this fight.
You all talk about it, that you got that cardio in your back pocket. Everything else is gravy. That's the number one tool. So, dude, this card this weekend is just stacked. So I guess we can roll into the Bix. We're going to talk about 7 fights. We got no guest, no game show. Let's go.
Let's go.
So, Bully, it must be kind of nice to be in Vegas with no real responsibilities right now.
Yeah, it's cool. As I was packing my bag, I was like, man, I don't have to pack a suit. Perfect. I just sat there, packed the Crocs, packed a couple of take tops, packed some gear. I'm going to get some training in while I'm down here, so it's just going to be fun.
I know. Speaking of Crocs, that's good. So I have a couple daughters. They have some Crocs now, and I think a couple Gibbet. What do you put in Gibbets? What are those little things you put? You
those little.
Know what they're called. Oh, you don't know what they're called? I'm supposed to know that. You know what they're called. But anyway, so I got a couple of pairs in my house now. So little Croc love. If we
welcome to the team. I tell you got to get yourself a pair too. They're comfortable.
At some point. By the way, the Jordans that you got my brother are, dude.
Nice, right?
I might have to, we do have the same size. They're unbelievable. They really are. Thank you for that, by the way.
I love whenever you say that, I just imagine Jared Gordon watching this on his phone in bed. He's just like, what the fuck?
He's probably going to text me right now. Like, oh, you gave him Jordans, dude. I still didn't get my rug. Shout out to our sponsor, English Show. They pay their debts.
100%. I was, I was a little surprised, to be honest. So, Jared's got a fight next weekend, right?
October 2nd.
Okay. So
October 2nd, and then he gets married October 29th. So big October month for him.
Good for him. I love it. All right. So let's get to Bully's Bix. And for those of you joining us on Remember the Show that don't know why it's a B, and it's his picks, Bully, really quickly, let him know why it's a B and not a P, please.
And Arabic language, we don't have a P in our language. So every time you talk to immigrant, fobs, we call them, fresh off the boat. They pronounce everything with a B. So it was one of those things that it stuck with it. Then all of a sudden everybody started blowing it up. So stuck to Bix after that.
So those of you who don't know now, you know. So we got Bully, we got Belal, we got Bix. It's all B's here. So Cody, the first fight was it Dan Hooker, Nasrat Haqparast. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So both gentlemen, quite the effort to get to Las Vegas, but it will happen. Dan Hooker on a preliminary card is fascinating, as not even the featured prelim. It's just the Ultimate Fighting Championship, man, just stacked. So this is a close fight. Talk to me.
I'm excited about, man, respect to both these guys. First of all, I think both of them are just getting in on Thursday. Literally, I think Nasrat's going to get here tomorrow. So it's like nuts where you have to sit there, worry about a weight cut, get down here, and then you're fighting in 2 days. Usually, I don't even know if they're going to be acclimated to the time zone change as well. And that makes a huge difference. But for both of them, I'm not sure what the difference is for both of them. But the fact that both of them are doing the same thing, like there's nobody really gets the upper hand. I mean, Nasrat, respect them. Condolences to his family. He lost his mom a couple weeks ago, and he was still willing to take this fight. It shows a lot about him. It shows what he wants. He wants to be a champion, and you got to respect that. Respect to Dan Hooker too, where you know what he's going to have to deal with when he goes back. He's probably going to have to be in quarantine for another 20 days. What he had to deal with that last fight, I think it was like 50 days where he had to stay in it. Yeah. So you can't hate both of these guys. Both of these guys, you got to respect them both. I think it comes down to, man, Nasrat's running hot right now. His stand-up's been looking good. He's getting better every fight. He's a lot younger. Dan Hooker coming off of 2 bad losses. His last one was a big knockout to Michael Chandler. I mean, he's been in a lot of wars. He's been in a lot of battles. I'm not sure how much left his chin got on him. Nasrat throws hard punches. I think Nasrat's going to have the advantage in this one. I think Nasrat's going to win this fight.
I like it. Little juice on the dog to start us out. You know, there have been a lot of good.
Hang on.
What's up, director?
The time difference is going to be Vegas 9:30 p.m. It's going to be New Zealand the next day 4:30 p.m. Time.
Yeah, it's not like Russell Wilson traveling to Miami for 3, and playing at 10 a.m. Pacific time that everyone makes a big, a little different situation here.
Yeah, right.
So, all right. So the next fight, dude, Merab Dvalishvili, Marlon Moraes. So Ray Longo will be in the corner. By the way, I'm sure you saw today. So Merab on the press conference, he basically said, I'm never fighting Aljo, right? His teammate Aljo. He said, we're never fighting. I love that. And granted, he's got to do some work before he gets, Aljo is wearing the belt right now. Not like that fight is imminent, but I like that he said that, I like hearing that. I'm glad that Burns and Usman fought, whatever, but I like the loyalty there. And that's really a special camp. Anyone who listens to Anik and Florian podcast knows that Longo, that camp with Sterling and those guys, Ally Quinta and Merab, they're real close. So anyway, this fight. So Merab's the 11th ranked fighter, Moraes 6th, right? So it's interesting. And Merab's obviously a heavy favorite, won 6 in a row. Who do you like here? I mean, is Merab just going to do what he does and take him down all night continuously, or can Moraes pull the upset here?
This is a big fight right here. This is really like, I feel, where we see where Merab really is. Everybody knows what he's going to do. He has that cardio for days. He'll sit there, take you down 55 times in a fight. He's like the worst matchup for a lot of guys because he has a chin on him. He'll sit there, throw a while, but you know what he's going to do. He's going to go in there, shoot, try to take you down. But your man Marlon, he just has that one-shot power. All it takes is one shot, and he can knock you out. He had a bad little run right now, but they're against some of the toughest guys in the division that he's losing to. It's not like he's losing to bums. Yep. The thing about this is, he's been knocked out a couple of times, but those are against guys with hard power in their hands and their feet and their legs. Henry Cejudo, Rob Font, those guys got really hard hands. And his grappling is really good too. So I think it comes down to, Merab, he doesn't really have that much power. He doesn't really have that much finishes. But if you're going to leave Marlon, you're going to let Marlon stay in the fight. All it takes is one shot from him. I mean, I know Merab has a really good chin. If he gets rocked, he'll always go back down to the wrestling. But I think this is where we really see where Marlon is. If he really wants to continue fighting, because this is a big fight for him. It's not really a step downward, but it's a winnable fight for him, I feel like. And I feel like if he comes in there, he puts on a great performance, knocks him out, finishes him. He's right back to in the mix, as you say. Because, like I said, all it takes is that one win, one great finish, and in the UFC, that's all you need.
And the ranking's really irrelevant. You take care of Merab here. I think those recent losses are become a little bit of a distant memory. I do.
Yeah, exactly. And especially for a guy like that, if you go out there, finish him, and we know that Marlon's capable of hitting him with a head kick or hitting him with a punch or something and dropping him, you remember who he is. He's one of the best finishers in the game, especially at the lighter weight class. And I think I'm gonna pick Marlon. I'm gonna pick the underdog.
I like it. So
it's also the return of Matt Serra to the corner as well. Matt Serra ends his classic MMA retirement move by Matt Serra, ends his cornering hiatus.
Wasn't he just a
this will be fun to hear him.
Wasn't he just a little sour because he wasn't in Aljo's corner?
Yeah, but then he was just like, I'm done cornering. Like, I'm just gonna coach and like whatever. Like, I thought he was like writing off the whole thing. But yeah, good to see him back. I think he's gonna make the trip to Abu Dhabi too, according to Ray, as per the podcast.
I like it. So what's next? Jessica Andrade, one of my favorite fighters in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. That is nice. So she's a huge favorite with good reason, even though I think she has lost 3 or 4, which is amazing. I know, bouncing between strawweight and flyweight. So this matchup, so they faced a common opponent last year, about a month from each other. So October 18th, Andrade destroys Caitlin Chukagian with those body punches, I believe. Yeah. And then a month later, Chukagian, beats Calvillo, right? So, and I know it's not just about the common opponent here, but to me, it is an interesting matchup. But unless Andrade is facing Nama Yunus or she's facing Valentina, she is just an absolute beast. Is there a way that Cynthia can get this done?
I mean, Cynthia is one of those girls where like one fight she looks like a beach, one fight she looks great, and then the next fight all of a sudden she just like looks like she took a couple steps back, and you're wondering like what's happening. Like UFC brought her in, she had a lot of hype. Dana White was calling her next big thing, and then all of a sudden she gets a couple losses. It's been weird for her. I think she had a lot of change of camps. This camp I know she did over here at Extreme Couture, and I was just talking to Nick again. She's like, she's a beast, she's good, but it's all about who shows up fight week, who shows up, which Cynthia is going to show up in the cage that day. We already know who's going to show up when Andrade is fighting. She's going to come in there. She's a bulldozer. She's going to walk through you, pick you up, slam you on your head. She's one of the strongest little girls you'll ever see. And I feel like that style is going to counteract Cynthia's style. Cynthia, she wants to get to the ground, but if you got somebody like Andrade who has great jits and who has a great top game, there's really not much Cynthia could do. And I think I'm going to pick Andrade in this one.
Yeah, I'd be shocked to see that go the other way. So is it the big boys next, Cody? It is Curtis Blaydes, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So Blaydes a big favorite here. So is he going to control this fight with his wrestling, just keep it down the whole time, or is Biggie Boy going to make some magic here?
Rozenstruik is another one of those guys where one fight he looks like a killer. All it takes is one shot, and another fight you see him throw a dud out there and doesn't throw any punches. Doesn't throw anything out there. Curtis, one of those guys that, man, that last fight, that uppercut he got caught with was just a nasty uppercut. And Derek Lewis, I tell you, man, a lot of people underestimate his size and his athleticism. A lot of people don't think he's really that great, but just when you look at him, but he's a beast. He's fast, he's strong, and he's athletic. And I think that Curtis Blaydes just literally got caught there. He was looking really good before that. His striking is really good. His wrestling is really good. You know what he's great at. And he's not one of those guys that's going to shy away from just taking you down 10, 15 times. And Rozenstruik, I think in his first UFC fight, he got taken down a lot in that fight. And he ended up catching him in the last round. But we know he also did that to Overeem too, where he caught him with the last punch in the last second. So we know he has that one punch knockout power. But I think Curtis Blaydes, after getting knocked out his last fight, he's going to fight this one very smart. He knows he needs a win right here. Otherwise, he's going to be the gatekeeper of the division because he keeps getting close and close to the title shot, close and close to the title shot. Then all of a sudden, it's that one loss. He ran it to Ngannou. Now he ran it to Black Beast. But he's still young. He's still a beast. I think that he's going to be able to clinch him, take him down. And I think I'm going to give Blaydes a finish in this one. He seems very motivated in this one. He has to remind people how good he really is. And if he wants to be in that title picture, he has to show the UFC that he's got to go out here and finish these guys.
I like it. So, yeah. So I was going to say it's not the main event, but might as well be Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. A lot to get into here, obviously. So it's a 185, which is just we already got into that. So what to me, right? With Nick Diaz, right? And I heard James Krause earlier saying, I can't wait to watch this, but I could never bet on this fight. He's been gone 6 years. Who knows what to make of it?
Yeah.
Robbie Lawler going to be 40 in March. He's lost 4 in a row. It's very difficult. To me, when I look and see them face off, I don't know what to make of this other than I just cannot wait to see it. We're going to make you make a bet though.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see which Nick shows up. A lot of people, he didn't show up to the press conference, the media day. What the heck? Like, does he want to fight? But that's a Diaz brother for you. He's had fights where he wouldn't show up on the plane. He would miss the flight. Like I said, he keeps it real with you. He tells you, like, I'm thinking I'm going to lose this fight. I never go into any fight thinking that I'm going to go out there and kill this guy. And that's just some real stuff right there. You obviously always have these nerves. You always have it in the back of your head. What if I go out there, get knocked out? There's millions of people watching. Nick Diaz, a guy like that, being at that level, people are waiting for this guy. How many people are going to order this pay-per-view just because of Diaz brother on this fight? Every fighter is going to order this pay-per-view just because Nick Diaz is on this fight, because you want to see, is he back? Which Nick Diaz is back? Anytime a Diaz fights, they're needle movers. Everybody wants to watch them. I'm excited to see which one shows up. I want to see that Nick Diaz that will sit there and have that great dirty boxing, that great body shots, staying in your face, throwing the punches at your face. But we know what Robbie Lawler is going to do. No matter what, he's going to come out there that first round, that first 3 or 4 minutes, he's going to come out there and throw bombs at you. His last couple fights, he lost, but those are guys that were really taking him down, fought very smart fights against them. Kobe Covington took him down a lot. Neil Magny took him down a lot. And they played a very smart game against him. Nick Diaz, you want to box with him, he's going to box with you. And especially, like Nick Diaz says, it's hard to fight a guy that you already beat because what are you going to gain out of it? Like, you can't beat him in a better way that you already beat him because you knocked him out in the first round or second round. And it was one of those that just finished him, and he had a lot of hype in that one. Now he got 4 losses in a row. You're thinking that he's a little bit older. You already have a win over him. So what if you win by a decision or a split decision or something like that? What are fans going to say? Oh, Nick Diaz is not the same. He knocked him out the first time. He couldn't knock him out this time, blah, blah, blah. So you can't win. It's a lose-lose situation, I think, for Nick Diaz, unless he goes out there and shows us that he still has something left in the tank. I know he's out here calling out Usman.
Right.
But unless you're with his name value, like if he goes out there and knocks out Robbie Lawler, 100% he can get a title shot next just because of his name value.
But wasn't Nick saying something like about like if I get my ass whooped, I'm more likely to want to get back there right away? Which is just so to me, what's nice about that, it looks like we're going to see Nick Diaz more than maybe just once here. And it was what, a 5-year suspension, right? Is that what? So it wasn't as if, you know, some of this hiatus was out of his control. Yes. Yeah,
like you said, a 5-year suspension really is out of his hands. It's not like he was just sitting there saying, I retired, now I'm unretiring. It wasn't in his hands. It was for weed, something crazy. Now weed's legal for fighters in Nevada. So, I mean, his basically career changed it for everybody else, and it honestly helped everybody else. But like you said, he goes out there, he says, I get beat up, I'm going to fight again. But everybody talks that talk before the fight. I think it comes down to how he feels in there, how like there's going to be a big crowd in there. He didn't have to go with the no crowd fighting. I think that would actually be better for him. Just because, you know, those guys, like you said, they get very anxious and stuff like that before their fights. They get nervous before their fights. And I feel like that's why they need weed sometimes, just to calm down their nerves. They don't do it as a steroid or something crazy like that. They just want to fight. That's what they're good at. They're good at fighting. That's all they know is fighting. And I want to see if Nick Diaz still has it, if he still has that fight left in him. It's going to be an exciting fight. I'm excited for it. Like you said, I just want to see which guy shows up. No matter what, all right, call out Usman, whatever. If you go out there and you show it, obviously the UFC is going to give it to you just because your name. So there's a lot riding on this fight right here. There's a lot of money on this fight.
So where are you going to be? Are you going to be back in Chicago by the time this thing kicks off or what?
No, I'm going to be, we're having actually a Fight Pass watch party here that I'm going to be over there watching it with the fans. So it'll be cool to watch it with them and get their reaction and see, you know, I'm going to get a feel for them. If Nick Diaz is walking on, they're all going crazy, cheering, they're all quiet, then I know they still got it in them because you don't know which fan it is. The 5 year ago fans are different from the fans now. You know, there's new echelon of fighters here. Like a lot of people now don't even know who GSP is. And you're like, wait, what? You don't know who GSP is? You got to remind these people. Nick Diaz is one of those guys.
It's very true. And even with like Kenny Florian, who's a guy I'm obviously, you know, connected to through John, it's like, you know, there are plenty of fight fans that have not heard of Kenny Florian. You know what I mean?
Right. It's crazy.
Just because they're young, you know? He's going to kill me. Old man, 45-year-old Flo. So we move into the co-main event. And to be honest, when I was prepping this show a little bit, I know, right? The odds. So I didn't really even look into this that much. It is just unbelievable. There's a reason the odds are what they are. What, you know, Shevchenko's last fight when she was facing Andrade, I was legitimately excited just because Andrade, to me, certainly she has a puncher's chance, right? No disrespect to Lauren Murphy. It's just hard for me to envision any scenario in which she is on this level. There are levels to this shit. No disrespect. I think the line is appropriate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Shevchenko against anybody, that line is appropriate unless you're Amanda Nunes. But Lauren Murphy is one of those girls. She's on a good streak right now. She had a tough fight against Calvillo. She didn't look that great in that fight, but she won. And she's one of those girls. She's not great anywhere, but she's good. And she knows a little bit about everything. She got a decent ground game. She got a decent stand-up. She got a decent grind. But, man, Shevchenko, there's just not a lot of girls out here that are going to be on her level, especially at 125. And I think it's just going to be another one of those showcases for Valentina. She's going to go out there. She's going to do her. But for me, it's going to be more so, how does Valentina win? We saw her last fight where everybody thought Andrade was going to have wrestling for her, and she went out there and wrestled Andrade. She tried to show you, like, I wrestle too. I'm a beast. So I wonder what she has planned in store for us. She's been training with Brandon Moreno a lot. I've been seeing that. So that's been cool. Seeing those two. I want to see those sparring matches because I want to see how it is with 25 girl, 25 guy. See how they go.
Dude. So is it 5-round fight, right?
Yeah.
Here. So, right. It's almost impossible for me to envision this, this not being finished inside the distance. Her lasting 5 rounds with Valentina. If she lasts 5 rounds, that's a win. You should get paid on that. What's up, Cody?
Isn't it fair to say when Valentina signs a contract, it says 5 rounds, and she's like, okay.
Right.
Sure. Like, let me sign a 5-round contract. Like, it doesn't matter. It's no disparagement on Lauren Murphy. I mean, that's not even the worst line that we've seen with Valentina Shevchenko, to be quite frank.
Wow. And I mean, gotta get Kayla Harrison up in here.
Nico Montano is the true champion of the division. I mean, we're really talking about the number 1 contender fight.
No, like you said, it's one of those where Valentina earned that minus 1,500 against any of these girls. She goes out there, she shows how dominant she is. It's not one of those things where, they're hyping her up. No, she's a monster. Everybody knows how good she is. Like, if she wanted to spar me, I'd be afraid because I'd be like, man, I'd be thinking, how am I going to do? I'm just going to shoot on her, take her down because I don't know what to do. I'm going to use my size on her.
So if you have to guess, how and when does this fight end?
I think that Valentina is going to finish her on the feet. I think she's going to go out there. I'm going to go a head kick. I'm going to say head kick knockout. I'm going to say probably within. She takes a little bit to read. She's probably going to read Lauren Murphy for a little bit, play with her food a little bit. Then I think she's going to finish in the second or third round.
I like it. The main event of the evening. Feels like 6 years in the making. Slight favorite, Alexander Volkanovski, Brian Ortega, T-City. So interesting fight here. Been a long time for both these guys. So I'm going with James Krause again because I watched some footage of him. What he's saying, he already went to the window on Volkanovski. He says Volkanovski beat Max Holloway twice. That second victory may be disputable to some, but that is what it is. And Brian Ortega was outclassed by Holloway. So for him, it's pretty simple. Belal Muhammad. Does the underdog have a shot here, or is the champion and still?
I think it comes down to, Brian Ortega, he looked like a different fighter his last fight against Korean Zombie. He fought very calm. His stand-up looked on another level. He looked good. I think, and I don't think Volkanovski was able to go back and train with his team over there, back down there, City Kickboxing. So he didn't have his camp over there. I don't know if that's going to be a key in this fight. But Volkanovski, like I said, he's very smart. He knows how to win fights. He's very good at game planning, knowing what's going to get him the victory. He doesn't get out of any game plans. He's very strict with how he stays disciplined with everything he wants to do. He knows that how he's going to beat you. And he's going to have cardio. In his earlier fights, he had a great ground and pound against a lot of guys. He'll take them down, smash them. And his last couple of fights, as you saw, against Holloway, who's a great stand-up guy, he defended a lot of those shots against Holloway. I think there was one of those where I think Holloway landed more shots against Ortega in one fight than he did against Volkanovski in 2 fights. And that's 10 rounds. So he's very smart with the way he punches, the way he kicks, the way he defends himself. But Ortega, man, all it takes is one wrong move, and he could submit you, take you down. Even as you saw with his striking his last fight, he could even knock you out. He's knocked out Frankie Edgar. He's tapped out Clay Guida. This guy is good, and he'll fight to the end. A couple of his fights earlier.
We lost you. I'm sure it was riveting. He was rolling pretty good there for a second. I'm wondering if you're going to pick Ortega now. I don't think you're going to. I got you now.
In his earlier fights, I was always remember watching him, and then he'll get beat up the whole fight. Then all of a sudden, in the last third round, he'll get a finish somehow. I know he got beat up by Max Holloway, but man, Max Holloway is a monster no matter what. And I honestly think Max Holloway beat that Volkanovski their second fight. I'm interested to see that trilogy fight, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Ortega winning this fight. He's going to get a finish. He's going to get a submission, and it's going to be Anu.
T-City Anu by submission. I like it. Hey,
I'm excited for that.
I'm telling you, I always love new blood in the UFC, but it is going to be a great fight and a great night of fights. I can't wait for it. So before we get out of here, I just want to recognize the Duck, Ian Parker, now MMA analyst for ESPN, friend of the program. I'm just so happy for that dude. He's really good at what he does. He's always so prepared and so knowledgeable. I'm just really happy for the guy. I've always been a big fan of his on the Anik and Florian podcast. It's a great opportunity for him and everyone getting some love on television. I love it.
Yeah, he's a beast. People don't realize how good he is. Literally, he knows everything. And he's actually fought before, so he understands styles. And he just doesn't give you, I think this guy's going to win. Like he'll break it down to you perfectly.
Absolutely.
Anytime I'm working the desk, I literally call him and I ask him, hey, what do you think about this fight or that fight? Just because if you guys heard him on the Anik and Florian podcast, this guy's a genius when it comes to fighting and picking fights.
Dude, and you know, a lot of you, everyone has different memories, right? You have a great memory for this stuff, and so does he. And being able to recall moments and fights and past moments are really valuable. And from a gambling perspective, people that are following him are making money, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know him. I'm like, bro, how are you not having everybody jump on your bandwagon right now? How are people not hiring you right now? But people are starting to realize how good he is, so he deserves it.
Exactly. Happy for the duck. So anyway, last week we were on with an hour for all the fans, so we got a quick one for you tonight. But enjoy the fights this weekend. You stay lean, stay out of those donut shops and the In-N-Out in Vegas. And we'll see you next Thursday. Hopefully you can announce a fight by then. Until then, remember the show. We're out of here.
For sure, guys. Peace out.
Have a good night.